Hey, what's up YouTube? FrostTech here with a motherboard review. So this is the Z170X-UD5 by Gigabyte, and this is a Skylake chipset board. We're going to be doing a build on it tonight, and I was going to go ahead and go through the motherboard. So this is a pretty upper to mid-range board for Skylake. We'll go through the back real quick. So on the back you got all the different things that it has. This board's got USB 3.1, two M2 connectors, dual Intel NICs, pretty much the whole 9 yards on features that you can really get on a consumer grade board. I'm not going to really bore you with reading the back of this, the back of the box off, so we're just going to go ahead and get it opened. Alright, so getting right into the box, first thing you're going to find is the motherboard itself. We're going to set that to the side for a second and just go through what's in the bottom. So we got 4 SATA connectors. That's nice to see. They're black. You got a black SLI bridge right here. Some pamphlets. They're partnered with Blizzard, so they have a little door thing. Not going to be using that. Then you got a manual with driver CD. Obviously, get the new stuff off the website. You got a pretty good thick manual. It's nice for this stuff to get included because whenever you're having issues getting your board to post for the first time, you can go through this and see what's going on. Looks like they have a multilingual installation guide, so this is kind of like a quick start if you haven't really built before. This shows you what you need to plug in and where. Looks like some sort of Blizzard flyer. We got an I/O shield. A really nice thing about this I/O shield is it is black, so it doesn't look kind of crappy on the back. This is a signal of an upper to mid-range board. Definitely a really nice thing to have that you really appreciate. And then we got some caps for looks like the display ports on the back, so if you're not going to be using the integrated GPU, you can cap those off so you don't accidentally plug into it. Last thing we got here is it's kind of like the Asus Easy Connect connector, so you can get your power, LED, and all that stuff hooked up to the board a lot easier than you would if you just were putting it on the pin straight to the board. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get the box out of the way and bring the motherboard. So it's wrapped up in anti-static like every other motherboard ever is. Make sure you ground yourself before you start playing with this stuff, just in case you don't accidentally fry a transistor or something like that. As long as you haven't really been moving around a ton, you're fine. So we're going to go ahead and peel it open. And we'll use the box, set it on. Maybe. So just be careful when you're handling this stuff, you don't want to hear anything. Alright, so first impressions just on pulling it off. Very solid board. It's got a lot of heft to it. So it's got a lot of different heat sinks on the board itself. I guess we'll just go through some of the features on the board itself that you guys can see here. We got heat spreaders for all of the power delivery for the chip. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least 10 phases for the power, which is a super nice thing if you're trying to do overclocking of any sort. We got 4 DIMM slots, 24 pin. We have 2 USB 3.0 connectors, which is super nice if you have a case that has 4 on the front now, which is starting to become more of a standard. Really cool thing Gigabyte did with this one is they did metal PCI slots. So this is kind of a way to make sure that graphics cards aren't bending the board or bending the PCI slot. It adds a little bit of rigidity to it, and that's a super nice feature thing. And if it isn't functional, it definitely looks awesome. We do have 2 M.2s that I said here, so you can run 2 M.2s on this. Super nice because you don't have SATA cables or you don't have to run power to them, and these are really fast drives, 32 gigabits a second. So that's pretty sweet. Outside of that, we'll go over here to the SATA. So we actually have, see if it focuses on the board or not. We have 8 SATA 6s, and then we have some SATA Express, actually 3 to be exact. And so some of these will actually take over these SATA slots if you do plug them in, but that is an awesome amount of I/O connectivity for plugging in all the other stuff. Lots of fan headers. I'm not really sure how many exactly, but plenty, more than you're probably ever going to need. You got your 24 pin standard, you got a power button, CMOS LED light. This is super nice if you're having problems with getting your board to post, so this will tell you what exact error is it. They got an easy overclock button and eco button, so that's going to adjust your APU settings to get it more economical. You got 8-pin power. You've got a little bit of an audio solution they've added in here. They call it Amp Up audio. So they got some capacitors and stuff down here for the audio, which is pretty nice to see. Everything else is pretty standard. You got your plug down here. You got a nice anodized gold and black Southbridge heatsink. And then we'll go on to the back on the I/O. So here we've got DVI, PS2, a couple of USB 2.0s. You got USB 3.0s set up here. You've got 3.1 and a 3.1 Type-C, which is super nice to see. You got your standard audio out, and then you've got a DVI, and then a display port, and that is it, and an HDMI over on the side. If you're getting this board with the Skylake, I highly recommend that you're not using these. Hopefully you have a dedicated graphics card. Outside of that, the back, not anything on the back. You got your standard bracket on the back for the CPU, and you got a matte black PCB. So if you guys have any questions, be sure to leave a comment. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. If you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down and let me know why. Thanks, guys.